I'm not, 100% confident, I just know, the caliber of fighter that Errol is, just like I know the caliber fighter of Tim. I think both of them have taken a lot of damage in their career so far. But I just think, Errol skill-wise, just edge.
I disagree. I think Errol Spence is the sharper fighter. I do. I think he's the sharper fighter. I think he's crispier. And I think his shot, his punch selection is better. And I think that he has the better shot of landing that right punch at that right time.
As fight night inches closer, the debate over Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu is only intensifying. Former champions, trainers, and respected analysts have all delivered their final predictions, but who are they backing? Let's break down every expert pick ahead of the showdown.
The kid really is special. Like, the dude really is special. And I know
he's not Dennis Nurkic.
I know these things about him. Like, he has the ability to see your balance and make you move. You know what I mean? Like, he's really like one of those master kung fu artists, but in boxing. You know what I mean? So he's a masterful boxer. You know?
Yeah.
And so those are the kind of things that we're looking at Tim Tszyu that doesn't have that kind of style.
Adding to the discussion, Roy Jones Jr. described Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu as an evenly matched comeback fight, with both men looking to rebuild their careers. He pointed to Tszyu's punching power as a key threat, but noted that Spence has consistently faced hard hitters, making the outcome difficult to predict.
Tszyu in Australia, what are your thoughts there?
I think it's a really good fight too. The good thing about the fight is that they both are on the way back up. They're on the rebound, so he's a rebound guy fighting another rebound guy, which makes it kind of equal, but Tim Tszyu is a hard puncher. So we'll have to see what happens. I think Errol is used to dealing with hard punchers, but we'll see what happens.
Sharing a similar perspective, Teofimo Lopez called the Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu fight a dream matchup and voiced his support for Spence to win. He also credited Spence for staying committed to training, noting that he already looks to be in excellent shape heading into the bout.
It's a dream come true. Errol Spence, Australia, Tim Tszyu. Heck yeah. I really want to see him win. I don't think so. I think Errol Spence has been truly non-stop working out. He already looks like he's in shape now.
Looking at the matchup from a different angle, Eddie Hearn viewed Tim Tszyu as a far more dangerous opponent than many now give him credit for. While acknowledging that Tsyu's recent defeats have changed public perception, Hearn argued that he remains a high-quality fighter with plenty to offer. He warned that facing Tszyu after a 2-year layoff makes Errol Spence Jr.'s comeback especially risky, calling it a compelling and dangerous test.
Yeah, I actually think it's a good fight. I think Tim, for a while now, Tim has been a much avoided fighter because, there was this kind of perception of him that he was this monster. But the reality is he's had a couple of defeats and people look upon him now as a kind of opponent. And that's what Errol Spence's team are doing. But I think Tim's more than an opponent. I think he's a very good fighter and I think he's got a lot about him. And I think it's a very dangerous fight for Errol Spence to come back. I think it's going to be really interesting and I wish Tim all the best.
Expanding on that, Regis Prograis pointed to Errol Spence Jr.'s age and long layoff as major question marks heading into the fight. He explained that while power often remains, qualities such as reflexes, footwork, and hand speed naturally decline over time. Prograis believes the real test will be whether Spence can still avoid punches and absorb Tsyu's offense effectively once the fight begins.
Errol is, he's 36, he's right under me, so that is old for a fighter. Now people are thinking their body a little better, but it's still old for a fighter. So like I said, we would have to see what happens. We would have to see where Errol shows up because the reflexes they do leave. And that's the main thing you need in boxing: the reflex, the foot speed, the hand speed. You need that power always gonna be there, but it's not about how you can hit. It's not a heavy bag. It's gonna hit back. So Tim Tszyu gonna hit him back, and if he can still take the punches, if he can still move from the punches, that'll be the question.
Furthermore, Lonnie B. questioned whether facing Tim Tszyu was the right choice for Errol Spence Jr.'s first fight back after an extended layoff. He viewed Tszyu as a difficult assignment under the circumstances and ultimately favored him to win the matchup.
I think it's good. I think it's good for Spence. Tim Tszyu is a lot to bite off of a first fight back coming off his destruction of Terrence Crawford. I just think that's, if I had to pick, I would lean more towards Tim Tszyu.
On the other hand, Tim Bradley backed Errol Spence Jr. to defeat Tim Tszyu, believing Spence's fundamentals, relentless pressure, and sustained punch volume would be the key to neutralizing Tszyu's attacking style. Bradley also referenced reports that Tszyu had struggled in sparring with his younger brother, further strengthening his view that Spence would eventually break him down and earn a stoppage.
Or Errol Spence, he's one of those fighters that know how to fight. He know how to fight. Errol Spence know what the hell he got to do. Errol Spence is the master of the basics. He know what the hell he got to do. Ain't nothing gonna change. He gonna let them hands go. He gonna take it to Tim Tszyu, you know. And Tim Tszyu is one of those guys, you know, stand right in front of you. He ain't one of them guys that pick up his feet and move. Nah, Tim Tszyu little brother better than him. He better than him. Tim Tszyu brother probably be whooping his ass in sparring. Yeah, he be whooping his ass. I already know he do. Yeah, lefty. He be moving his head side. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know he be whooping his ass in the gym for real, but they don't be talking about it. But yeah, I think Errol Spence, I think he gonna beat Tim Tszyu. He gonna knock him out. Tim Tszyu is done. He 31 and he done.
Offering a similar breakdown, Sean Zittel broke down the stylistic matchup by arguing that Errol Spence Jr. presents a uniquely difficult challenge for Tim Tszyu. He pointed to Spence's ability to establish control with the jab before opening up with body attacks, hooks, and precise uppercuts that gradually dismantled opponents. While giving Tszyu credit for his crisp combination punching, Zittel believed Spence's physical strength and command of distance at 154 pounds could prove decisive. He ultimately identified Spence's persistent jab as the weapon Tszyu would need to solve if he hoped to take control of the fight.
I'm interested in the Spence fight because in this fight, he still would take something off the shots and then boom, finish with a sharp shot to the body, a real sharp shot to the body, or a real heavy left hook, nice uppercut here and there. And so what I'm curious about in the Spence fight, from what I've seen from each of their last fights, Spence 3 years ago against Terrence, and again, it's against Terrence Crawford, he'll make you not look good. He'll make you not quite look like what you are. But I still think Tszyu is a little sharper punch for punch. The sharp punches he would put together off his combinations, they still look sharper than Errol. But the interesting thing is, Errol Spence, I think, is bigger than him. Even though he's never officially fought at 154, I think Errol's a bigger man than him once he gets up to 54. And the main problem for Tim Tszyu against Errol is going to be that jab. What does he do against that busy, constant jab
Errol
on Errol's side?
Right?
Yeah, Errol just keeping that jab in his face.
In addition to that, Sean Zittel argued that Errol Spence Jr. enters the fight with a physical edge over Tim Tszyu, pointing to the agreed 158-pound catchweight as evidence that the size difference favors Spence despite his years at welterweight. He also suggested Tszyu may still be feeling the effects of his bout with Sebastian Fundora, while portraying Spence as a relentless pressure fighter who refuses to stop attacking until the final bell.
Fights at 158 because of Errol Spence. Even though Errol Spence has never competed at this level as a super welterweight, he was a career welterweight, he's bigger than Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu thinks he's the bigger guy. And it was Spence who insisted on this fight being 4 pounds heavier at 158. So I thought between the size, between Tszyu, I think having a little PTSD, which he says he doesn't, but I do see something from Tszyu. Sometimes when he takes punches now, ever since the first Fundora fight, there's that PTSD that shows up. And Spence, whether he's well faded or not, is a Texas dog. He's gonna just keep fighting and fighting and throwing until he goes out on his shield.
However, Andre Durrell described Tim Tszyu as a fundamentally solid pressure fighter, rather than someone with an extraordinary skill set. While he viewed Tszyu as effective in his straightforward approach, Durrell also acknowledged the matchup remained highly competitive, calling it a true 50-50 fight, with genuine danger for either man.
There's nothing special, in regards to his skill set, right? Again, he's just a Kung Fu fighter, and he's decent, and what he does is he's a decent boxer, but this could be potentially dangerous. Again, it's 50-50.
Expanding on that assessment, trainer Derek James expected Errol Spence Jr. to rely on his usual style, but cautioned that Tim Tszyu's toughness and aggressive approach demanded a disciplined game plan. He emphasized that beating Tszyu requires strong footwork and smart boxing, warning that anyone who stands and trades with him risks getting drawn into a damaging firefight.
He's going to do whatever he's going to do, but I think that, Tim Tszyu's a very tough fighter, and you got to be able to use your feet, and you got to be able to box him, because if not, he's going to try to bang you out. So, you just got to be prepared for that.
Looking at the matchup, Keith Thurman compared the strengths of both fighters, pointing out that Tim Tszyu enters with the benefit of recent activity, while Errol Spence Jr. brings a deeper resume and proven success against elite opposition. Thurman also highlighted Tszyu's mobility as a potential factor, but ultimately viewed the matchup as an evenly balanced contest.
Tim Tszyu has the advantage of activity, and then Spence has the advantage of pedigree, right? He's been at another level. He's achieved more, even though it's at 147. I just feel like he's really done more, been in the ring with more world-class fighters, and had some victories against solid world-class fighters, where Tim Tszyu has not been as victorious when the opposition really hits that A class, you know? So that's the way I break down the fight. I say Tim Tszyu staying in motion benefits him, but the pedigree and being an Olympic boxer, just different overall things that favors Spence, but it's a solid 50-50.
Jeff Horn viewed the matchup as a closely contested fight, but gave Tim Tszyu a narrow edge. He believed Tsyu's recent activity and sharper form outweighed Errol Spence Jr.'s experience, pointing to Spence's extended absence from the ring as the biggest uncertainty. In Horn's assessment, Tsyu's rhythm and momentum made him the slight favorite heading into the bout.
Look, it's an interesting one, that's for sure, but I feel like Tim surely has to be favorite for this one, even though both guys have had some pretty bad defeats of recent. Well, not really. With Spence, he's been out and for quite some time, so I think that inactivity is probably not too good for him. And Tim's at least been active. He has had some bad losses, but I would have to be leaning towards Tim for this one.
In contrast, Radio Raheem argued that the agreed catchweight works in Errol Spence Jr.'s favor, believing size would not be a disadvantage for him. He suggested Spence is unlikely to be concerned by Tim Tszyu's physicality, but acknowledged that Tszyu enters with greater momentum. Even so, Raheem maintained that a prime version of Spence would have been the clear favorite in the matchup.
I like the weight that the fight is at, because that means that one thing Spence won't have to focus on is making weight. He's just making it comfortable for him. That's letting you know that he doesn't think Tszyu is too big, this weight isn't an issue, and he wants to take it off the table when it comes to getting ready for this fight. So you just make it big enough where you don't even have to think about it. That ain't gonna be an issue. And I like the matchup for a prime Spence. I think you would certainly agree, if we're talking prime Spence, and even and prime Tszyu, we're picking Spence. The reason that you're picking Tszyu is because the fade. We're seeing what we saw last time out, the age, the layoff, and the fact that Tszyu is active, Tszyu is younger, Tszyu could potentially beat a better fighter who would have beaten him in his prime because of these extenuating circumstances. That makes perfect sense.
Adding his perspective, Barack best described Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu as a high-stakes crossroads fight for both men. He believed each fighter needed an impressive victory to restore momentum, emphasizing that the contest represented a crucial opportunity for Spence to prove he still belongs among boxing's elite.
Oh, that's definitely happened. They're already talking about each other. That's definitely happening. I see that happening. And even though it's not a current champion, like Errol Spence probably wanted, when he first started talking about coming back, he wanted to fight Sebastian Fundora, which now everybody's looking at, he's a hard guy to fight.
Wait a minute.
But that's how Spence is,
No tune-ups.
Right, but even though he's not fighting a champion, Tim Tszyu ain't a tune-up.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? He's actually a very skillful fighter. He just has some losses now. Yeah. Losing to Fundora, getting stopped or whatever, that hurt him a lot. And so they're both kind of like in the same boat.
Right.
Even though Spence only has one loss, they're both in the same boat where they need a good name now to put him right back on top, because they're right, especially Spence, you're right there. One good win.
Supporting that viewpoint, Zab Judah believed Tim Tszyu's fighting style naturally suits Errol Spence Jr.'s strengths. He explained that Tszyu's tendency to press forward and remain in range could give Spence plenty of opportunities to control the action. While praising Tszyu's durability and willingness to engage, Judah argued those same qualities could leave him exposed against a fundamentally sound pressure fighter like Spence.
Tim Tszyu possesses the perfect style. He's gonna be right there. You know what I'm saying? He lacks a lot of defense. Maneuvers, and I think that's what the downfall is gonna be at. Other than that, he's a very tough fighter. He comes forward. He has a lot of heart. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's great. But a style with a style like a Errol Spence walk down, that's not gonna be. That's ooh. That's ooh. That's watch what I say. No cap.
Meanwhile, Bernie the Boxer argued that staging the fight in Australia would elevate the event because of Tim Tszyu's enormous support on home soil, although he acknowledged that Errol Spence Jr. would be competing in unfamiliar surroundings for the first time. Bernie remained confident that the travel, crowd, and lengthy absence would not stop Spence from earning a decisive win.
I would say Errol Spence, but you know, I think it'll probably go more well in Australia because Errol Spence never been to Australia. And, you know, he's still a big draw. He's still a big, big name. And, you know, Tim Tszyu obviously is a big name in Australia. So it just put more feather in his cap, you know, going to Australia, fighting a guy like Tim Tszyu in his first fight back after 3 years. And and I'm looking for him to look good and beat Tim Tszyu.
That wraps up today's breakdown of the final predictions for Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu. With experts divided and strong arguments on both sides, expectations couldn't be higher as fight night approaches. Soon we'll find out whose prediction was right. Who are you picking to win, Errol Spence Jr. or Tim Tszyu? Will Spence make a successful comeback, or will Tszyu prove he's still among the division's elite? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest boxing news, interviews, and fight updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.